Welcome to the P Collective podcast. Myself, Luca, and yeah, just me on my own today, guys. Shane, happy birthday. So he is away for this week, so I've had to film on my own. Absolutely fine. What I want to talk about today, be it that it is the new year. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about things to do in 2025 and how to achieve the goals in 2025. Today, I wanted to talk about some fitness trends that have been going the last year or two that are definitely still blowing up in this year, and what I would probably recommend for this year if you're looking at what kind of trends are kind of worth it this year. I think we touched upon some of these in, I believe, one of our first few videos, which is fitness wearables. So Shane always wears a Whoop, and I think he wears a different thing as well. But obviously, you got Apple Watches, you got all these types of things. Now, it really depends on the person. I don't wear one. I'm a very much old school approach in terms of what I would personally wear for my fitness journey, just because I genuinely just prefer looking at the type of food I'm eating, way I'm training, and my sleep, which I always recommend. Those three are going to be the most important before we get into the nits and gritties of the trends. But let's say you're a person that works an office job, so you're getting really minimal steps, or even working from home. And then on top of that, you've got a busy life. Maybe you've got kids. Maybe you've got something else you have to do in the evening, or you just want to chill. Having a fitness wearable can be a few different reasons why it's going to help. One, it's going to show you how minimal calories you're going to be burning, how many minimal steps you're really getting, and sometimes it's just like a little drive to actually see, oh damn, I've only hit 1,000 steps today. I've only burnt 1,000 calories. That's probably not enough to actually just even maintain my weight in terms of if you're going on a weight loss or weight gain journey. So that'll be number one. Number two would actually be looking at some aspects of recovery. So again, if you're eating and sleeping correctly, and you want to look at more of the nitty gritty, like, okay, what is my resting heart rate? What is my heart rate variability? What is my sleep actually like on top of just sleeping 6 to 8 hours? Cool. Again, it's a perfect tool for those types of things as well. My personal advice on that though is don't get too deep into it and get too obsessed, which I have seen some people do around, oh man, I need to bring my heart rate down to XYZ. That's why I'm not losing the weight I'm losing, or my sleep's only 6 hours 30 instead of 7 hours. That's why I'm not losing weight. Again, it's a 1 to 5% probably change from wearing a fitness wearable. For me, the more important bit is actually just the influence, kind of similar to calorie counting of, oh damn, I've only hit X amount of steps. Oh damn, I've only burnt X amount of calories. Number two, my personal favorite in terms of the trends, you could call it hybrid training, but it would definitely be in much more of the camp of how I've been training probably the last 6, 7 years now, where it's multiple different methods of fitness combined into one in a week or 10 days. So, for example, it could be kickboxing or boxing or jiu-jitsu 1 day a week, strength training 4 days a week, some cardio. So it could be jogging, it could be running, it could be a HIIT, it could be a circuit, another day a week. So you're training 5, 6 days a week, but not all of them being focused on just purely gaining muscle. The main focus and the main benefit of this is obvious. You're going to be fitter and healthier. You still can train to build as much muscle as you want. If you want to be a bodybuilder, I wouldn't recommend it, obviously. Like, by doing that much cardio, you are, and less of the more bodybuilding focused training, yeah, you're probably going to have 5-10% less muscle in that process. But if your overall goal is just fitness, being strong, being fit, looking aesthetic, then create a program or hire a coach to help you with the program to do something like that. So, say for example, I had someone that only could train 4 days a week. I would literally say to them, okay, if your main goal is aesthetic, like building muscle, why don't you do 3 days a week, like an upper, lower, full body, and then another day a week where it's more performance based. And then if you want to do anything on top of that, you can cycle to work and back. You could walk the dog more. You even jog with the dog. Anything just to get that cardio base and have multi-level directional movements. It's not everything just in the sagittal plane, which a lot of bodybuilding and even powerlifting training is. So that would be my main suggestion. Another one, obviously, trend-wise, that's blown up in the last year or two is high rocks. Now, I haven't competed in high rocks, or something similar, I guess, for me is the Spartan. The reason I say I like this trend, it doesn't have to be high rocks, but the trend of these fitness events is by booking on one, it can make you want to do things that you don't personally like doing. I hate running. That's actually why I've been doing the Spartan the last 3 years, is it forces me to have to practice running to at least get a reasonably good time on these races. Same thing with high rocks, right? If you really love strength training but you hate doing cardio, actually booking on something that is cardio based or even like a marathon, then yeah, it's going to be great. And you've definitely seen this trend like pick up the last couple of years, not just high rocks, but like running. A lot more people looking at just running every day now, or doing even marathons and half marathons, which is all great stuff. I would always just recommend though, like look at your goal, like what is your personal goal? Um, if it's purely aesthetic, which I wouldn't normally recommend personally, then yeah, bodybuilding training with some very low level cardio is going to be great. I say low level, it's low intensity cardio. But very often I find is if you just focus on performance, so some bodybuilding sessions, some more performance sessions, some cardio, some martial arts, or another sport that you like, the aesthetics will come anyway. And truth be told, for most people, when they look at a lot of others that are in shape, all they're really looking at is getting leaner. Like if you gain 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, which may sound a lot, but isn't actually that difficult to do if you've never strength trained before, and you lose 20, 30 pounds of fat, for most people, they'll reach their aesthetic goal. Obviously, like there's going to be, you might want to gain even more than that. That I sure did after I did basically what I just said. But if you focus on the performance, which I have done over the last 6 years, and I've still gained what in total probably 20-ish kg, is what 40 something pounds of lean mass. But in the last 6 years, probably 30 pounds of it was that. Because the few years before that, I was purely just thinking about aesthetics and I wasn't training optimally, I wasn't eating optimally. But in the last 6, 7 years, when I wasn't even just solely focusing on bodybuilding, is actually when I gained my most muscle because I started focusing on nutrition, not to just look lean, but to actually eat to get better performance. I started bodybuilding training not only to get bigger, but to also help me in strengthening hypertrophy for other things that I was pursuing. And my last suggestion, guys, is one that's kind of been going for a while. I think this guy, Jeff Nippard, another guy called Dr. Pack, and quite a few others. Mind Pump, a podcast that I follow themselves, and I've actually run some of their programs before, and they're great. Is minimum effective volume to get the most results. So the majority of my clients are training, if they're lucky, 2 to 4 days a week max. Most of them somewhere in that ballpark of 2 and 4, most around 2 or 3. Are you going to become a bodybuilder by doing that? Absolutely not. But can you actually gain a decent amount of muscle and actually lose a decent amount of fat? 100%. And this is where choosing a program effectively is going to be important, and doing the minimum volume of things that actually work versus doing what I did the first few years when I was training. When I trained, I was mainly doing, like when I was 18 to like 20, loads of arms and push ups, maybe sometimes pull ups and dips. I trained legs, it was like some bodyweight squats, and that was it, right? And it was mainly a pump session, the kind of session I'll just have fun doing on holiday now. But yeah, I gained some muscle. Yeah, my body did change slightly, but the issue that came with that is, as I learned throughout the years and when I gained the most muscle, is if I just focus on actually just the compound movements, the 5x5 program is still being used today after many, many years for a reason, is those 5 lifts work. Uh, I say 5 to 6. Bent over row, pull ups, overhead press, bench press, deadlift, and squat. Just by doing these 1 to 2 times a week with some isolation movements, you're going to get, I'd estimate, about 60 to 70% of the results you would get anyway in terms of building muscle and strength, and just focusing on progressive overload of these movements. And that's exactly what I get my clients to do. They're only training 2 to 4 days a week. It's just progressively overload for the first year, 2 years, 3 years on these movements. And they'll take you right into the intermediate stage. And obviously, when you start becoming in the later intermediate and advanced stage, you're gonna have to start looking at the more isolation stuff and ways to get stronger at those compounds, switching some movements out, etc. But the normal lifter, the normal person that's training 2 to 4 days a week, just focus on those and just literally start off 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps, and then go from there. And that's personally what I do for most of my clients. And I get people that gain again like 10 to 20 pounds of muscle in that first year or 2 years, by only training 2, 3 days a week, just because we're focusing so much on that. 100% when it comes to fat loss and weight gain, the nutrition is going to be in handy there as well. But nutrition's a trend all the time. I'm talking about the current trends. So looking at the 3 that I've spoken about today, the wearables that have been a trend for quite a few years now, but still picking up steam this year. The hybrid training and minimum effective dose. I think these 3 trends are pretty damn good to follow in 2025. Again, if I could choose one out of all of them, the hybrid training approach is probably going to be best for most people. The minimum effective dose is going to be great for someone that can only train 2 days a week, 3 days a week. The wearables, like I said earlier, it's going to be really good for someone that just needs a little bit more accountability. And if you are a bit more intermediate and advanced and you are looking for that extra push, it can be something that can help. Guys, comment below. Let me know any trends or any things that you're following that aren't these 3, or if you are following these 3, let us know in the comments. Hopefully, this is my only episode without Shane for a little while. It does feel weird filming it on my own. But like, subscribe. Like we said in the last video, we're trying to get this year to be a big year. The more you guys follow us, the more you guys bring us up in the algorithm, the easier it's going to be to get the kind of guests that we want to try and bring on this year. Obviously, we've had some great guests last year, but we want to bring on more collab videos, more workout videos with people, and just try and make the content this year as rich as possible, and just focus on bringing the best content possible to you guys. Okay, so give us the love. It will definitely help. Thank you, and we'll speak soon.